This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, it's MCU Geek Boners all around.
Geek Boner.
As we give you full spoiler reviews of the Moon Knight season finale on Disney Plus and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, May 9th, 2020.
This is Frank Grillo. You know me. But who are you? Are you the discerning, sophisticated type of person who enjoys all the latest comic book and superhero TV and movie news? Pop culture references, witty banter? Me neither. I'm just here for the dick jokes.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Talking, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We talking, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Yeah, what's up, listener? Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose.
Jock and Nerd.
My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And joining us, a fella who also has a third eye, but it's not where you think it is. Isn't that right, Ruggs?
It's in my belly button.
Oh, that's who your eye is, just in your belly. That's not what I was thinking either, but that is a place you could put a third eye. Yes.
Well, I have the one-eyed Willie, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, there's another third
Yeah.
eye. There's a lot of eye locations for a third eye. It doesn't always have to be on the forehead.
Pick a hole.
Yeah.
Put an eye there.
For you to be enlightened, doesn't always have to be on the forehead. All right, gang, look.
Usually it's on your dick.
Well, that's, yeah. Is it? There.
Oh, that's the Cyclops, right?
There's the other eye. That's more like the Shumagorath eye.
It is the brown eye.
Brown.
Oh, there's the brown eye, yeah.
That's the one I was initially going for.
Oh.
The joke.
That's a little too Van Morrison for me.
Yes.
That
Brown-Eyed Girl. Great song. We have a lot to discuss. And by a lot, I mean two very big MCU things. We're going to get right to it right now.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
Two
I like that
reviews.
you play an intro song.
Yeah.
And then we talk about Brown Eye, and then 30 seconds later you play another song to intro Moon Knight.
Yeah, well, I got to reset.
Two songs,
Everybody's
yeah.
thinking about Brown Eyes now, so I got to reset. Wipe that never happened. Wipe the slate clean. This is a reset. Let's talk about Moon Knight season 1 finale. It is done just like that. The 6th Marvel DC Plus show is over. We're through 6 of them. Here are your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This one titled Gods and Monsters, directed by Mohammed Diab. Anthony, what happens in the finale of Moon Knight?
Well, we left off with Steven, we thought dying, but Mark is on his way to the Field of Reeds and he wants to get out. He decides he needs Steven's help. Meanwhile, in the real world, Harrow has discovered or has Amit's, whatever the fuck that's called. Ushapti?
Yeah.
Ushapti?
Yeah, stone statue.
What's it called?
Ushapti?
Ushapti.
Mm-hmm.
And releases Amit, and he is on a path to using Amit's using him to judge everybody and eat the souls of people that are going to do bad at some point in their life. And Steven, along with Layla, have to stop him. Or stop her and him.
Yep. Final confrontation. Things are resolved. Things are left hanging. Lots of crazy reveals. A very short episode, as we mentioned last week. The shortest finale out of all the Marvel Plus Disney shows. But the show kind of finally becomes a superhero show. Anthony, what did you think overall of this finale episode?
Of the finale. When it ended, it took me a second first to figure out what kind of happened at the end.
Yeah.
But then once it ended, I went, this is all right. This is, it's not, I wasn't pissed off by the ending like I was with Hawkeye, where I was like, man, they've totally misused everyone.
Yeah.
I liked some of the stuff. I liked kind of the reveal of the third personality at the end. I liked the kaiju fight. I thought some of the stuff was rushed.
Yeah.
Sean Chandler made a good point on his review, and I think it's correct in that this episode probably could have been 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They really rushed through a lot of stuff. For instance, them taking out all the gods right away.
Oh my God, he killed all the avatars pretty easily there.
Yeah, Sean Chandler pointed out, I think it was correct, that the end of the episode, there could have been 2 episodes, and the midpoint of this episode would have been when Amit's eating the souls.
Yeah.
And you could end it there and be like, oh my God, the heroes have their backs against the wall. What are they going to do? Type thing. And then you start the next episode, the actual finale with them, fighting, figuring that out. But overall, I thought it was good. Lots of crazy, wacky stuff. Like I said, the kaiju fight. You got Mark and Steven back. You got Tolerate in there is now inhabiting Layla. So there's a lot of things going on. I think people will be a little bit questioning why they did the blackout scene and didn't show Jake destroying Amit or destroying Harrow. They kind of just, you're building up to this finale, and then it ends with the bad guy, and
then they don't show you.
See it.
Yeah, we missed all the great action fight scenes in the whole series. They've done that 3 times now.
Yeah, but I think overall it was okay. It wasn't terrible. There's definitely things. I think the big thing for me is I don't understand why they insist on 6 episodes for this stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is just budget, and they just spend so much that they're like, we can only afford to do 6. But yeah, overall, I wasn't displeased by the episode. I thought it was good, and yeah, that was it.
Ruggs, were you satisfied with this when it was over?
I thought it was okay. I wasn't over the moon. Have at it. Anyway,
boo,
lame. Yeah, I thought there was going to be a Tyler Durden ending,
right?
Where they were going to reveal the third persona that was doing all the major damage all along, and kind of tying that up really nicely in a bow. But we didn't get that. I really feel like that scene shouldn't have been a post-credit scene. I feel like that scene should have been in the epilogue of the episode of the reveal. What else? Yeah, I did think it was rushed. But overall, I thought everything except I didn't like the only thing I didn't really like was the fact that Mark had to rescue Steven.
Yeah.
I was like, he doesn't exist. He's not real.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything. You don't need to waste this time. He could just be back because you want him to be back.
But then you wouldn't have had that amazingly touching scene where he goes, "You are the only real superpower I ever had," and then you got Mark hugging Mark, which was lovely.
Who gives a shit about that?
I love that line though.
You might as well be jerking himself off.
I mean, he's acting his ass off, so you got to really.
Yeah, he's acting great in the whole thing. I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
But then that gives you him being able to flip back and forth between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight, which I thought was really cool. Like the way his powers have advanced, and he can just seamlessly go back and forth.
Yeah.
So you needed Steven there.
But yeah, Ruggs' point though is he could just it doesn't exist.
Right. He could have just went back and then
could just go back to being Steven.
And another thing is that the fact that the afterlife validated Steven's existence made me upset to a degree as well. I was like, why are they even entertaining this thing that he's not a complete person? And
yeah, that is weird.
It doesn't have anything to do with anything.
She should have been like, you don't get to enter the field of dreams, Steven, because you're not an actual real person.
No, I just think they should have avoided that whole thing and made it like he was dying, and then Layla saves him by freeing Khonshu, and Khonshu, resurrects him, and or Cyrus resurrects him because Khonshu intervenes or somehow. Like they don't need. It would have been cool, like while he was dying, for him to have this kind of like reckoning with himself.
Right.
But it didn't have. I felt so what happened, that he was having this reckoning with himself, and the fact that it's tied to like the actual afterlife that they're actually experiencing. I felt that was weird. I just felt like that we wasted a lot of time with that. But overall, I did think everything turned out pretty good. I did like Layla's reveal. I thought that was rushed too. I didn't understand why Tararet is that, like, it has to do anything with, like, fighting.
That is
people.
a good point. So Layla becomes the Scarlet Scarab. This suit she had was fire. When she pulls out her arms and you see the blades of the wings, I was like, oh shit. It is hot. It's great. And I love
it's Isis, isn't it? Shouldn't it be Isis?
But you're right. It makes no sense that the hippo, who is the god of women and children and fertility, you end up with this kind of powers as a scarab. She's holding the scarab. Yeah, whatever. That's a little bit of a hole.
I didn't necessarily mind that, but what I found very confusing is just that Amit just took out all the people in their avatars right away.
Yeah,
she just annihilates all the gods, and they're like, what the hell's going on?
Only Tararet, who's the goddess of fertility, can take on.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. There's some lapses in the judgment there.
They rushed it. If you make that 2 episodes and you show like the fight with Amit and the first couple avatars where Tararet and Khonshu aren't there, and then Amit wins, and you're like, oh my god, how are they going to beat Amit? Yep. Then that sets up the final episode where you can then do these 2 gods and then write something clever where they outsmart them.
I like that. Yeah, that could have been better because they don't even show it. They cut away and then they cut back and they're all dead, right?
Or you end it with him turning into Jake, but then you show what Jake is capable
Finally,
of.
You show Jake going berserk.
We talked about this last week. I just want to bring it up before I forget. But I think I saw it on Screen Crush, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Remember when we were saying how does Steven not know that his mom beats him?
Yeah.
I think what happens is in the last second, he reverts to Jake.
Okay. Oh, to Jake.
So Jake is the one that's taking all the beatings.
And that's why he is the most
That's why he's the most violent.
Oh, I like that.
And that's why Steven doesn't remember it either.
Yeah. And Steven and Mark both wouldn't remember.
That would be the way to write that. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That would be the way to make it.
That would
all make sense.
Yeah, that would be a great
way.
They didn't do the thing that
they didn't say that, but I hope that's what they're doing.
I just think it'd be weird. I think it's weird that he transforms to Steven while his mom's not banging on the door, and then Jake it should have just been Mark to Jake. Maybe
right.
You think that Steven made up his own person?
Maybe Steven made Jake.
No, I think they both just like black it out of their minds so much that it becomes just Jake, and Jake is the one taking it. So
they're still not aware of Jake Lockley personality. Those two, right?
No.
And how they leave it is Mark and Steven think that they have been released from Khonshu, but they really have not, because as you see in that, we'll just go to that post-credit scene, which is amazing. After Harrow gets defeated, he is now in a mental institute, and it's a real one. And I love this Easter egg. It's called a Sienkiewicz Psychiatric Hospital for after Bill Sienkiewicz. And Jake Lockley is like speaking Spanish. He's got like a Spanish accent, another accent for Oscar Isaac. I love when he kicks the chair. And then you get Khonshu in his suit, looking all hot and very, very fashionable in this white suit.
So who's rich in this
I don't know.
world?
He's driving a white limo. I think Jake Lockley's a limo driver, and he's like, meet my friend Jake Lockley. And then he just shoots Harrow. So
he's just driving someone else's limo.
But it says Spectre.
Are we just going to ignore the fact that he called Khonshu hot?
Dude, he looks great in that. I mean, I called Layla hot, too. Layla and Khonshu are both hot. In their new
bird skull.
You've never noticed this about Imran? He has a thing for birds.
A bird skull with a suit on? You're
bird skull in a suit is sexy. I don't know what.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. No, Layla is fucking smoking in that outfit. I was like, damn, she looks good. But, yeah, the license plate reads Spectre. This is all from the comics, though. Jake Lockley drives a white limo with the license plate Spectre. And you did call. Didn't we say, like, they're going to kill Arthur Harrow? I think you said that, Anthony. They indeed do kill Arthur Harrow, who's a pretty good villain.
When they thematically, or not thematically, but the theme of, they had Arthur Harrow trapped, and Khonshu's like, kill him, and basically they're like, no, because then that makes us like you, right? Like,
yes.
Or like just like Amit, where killing people, you don't give them a chance to do anything right.
Yes,
that does work. but it doesn't work for Harrow because he's done so many diabolical things that you're just like, no, you shouldn't give that guy a 57th chance at life.
Yeah, does he deserve this mercy? Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Right.
Like, you've killed a bunch of people, Mark Spector. You don't. This isn't the one.
But the punishment of him being like locked in a mental institute is like he's gone mad, and he's
Sure.
That's kind of fitting. But no, Jake Lockley's gonna clean it up at the end. So finally, and he's wearing the cap just like in the comics, and I was like, oh man, they waited to the very end to bring in the Jake Lockley. Very interesting. Back to Layla. I love this representation because I love that line where the girl's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she goes, "Yes." And I was like, "That's fucking awesome."
How does she say it though?
She
Like,
said, "Yeah." She said it in like Egyptian,
Oh,
yeah,
isn't that Arabic?
or Arabic, Egyptian Arabic. But then you also get a couple of yalla yalla. I love when you hear that, which is like, "Let's go, let's go."
Oh, okay.
You always hear that shit in all like the movies. But I think Mohammed Diab or someone on Twitter was like, he's Egyptian, and my daughter and the girls around him always straighten their hair, and for them to see a Egyptian superhero with curly hair is huge. And I thought that was fantastic. So a great transformation from the Marlene in the comics that the character's loosely based on. I liked what they did here. I thought Amit also looked amazing. Like the CGI work was pretty good when they were fucking big kaiju fighting.
It was fun, yeah.
Right? It looked fucking good.
I like the philosophical battle of, killing some or punishing people before they commit the crime or letting them, giving them a choice. They were having that conversation while fighting. They didn't dig into it super hard.
Yeah.
They was kind of like a little bit above superficial, but I do enjoy that when they have those little philosophical discussions about what the proper punishment is.
It's very
people.
Minority Report.
I was just going to say they have the Minority Report discussion. Yes.
Have you watched that movie in a while? It's a great movie.
It still holds up. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good.
absolutely.
Tom Cruise gets it.
Ruggs, did you like the kaiju battle?
It was fine. I didn't really think of it as a kaiju battle, even though they were giant,
Mm-hmm.
because they were just like like avatars of what's going on in the microcosm, of what was happening in the city. But it was cool to just, CG and stuff is fun. Yeah.
Did it work for the show for it to be not connected to anything else in the MCU for the first time in these shows? You think it helped or hurt it? I kind of feel like it helped it.
What?
The fact that they didn't have to shoehorn, set anything else up, or, they left some things like, WandaVision that's unresolved for movies, and all the other TV shows are setting up movies.
I think that overall that it is what it is, and it's its own thing, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And would it be cool for it to have some implications and ties to Marvel Universe? That's always just like a cherry on top. I don't think it's a must do thing.
Like, do we need to know when this happens in this MCU timeline? Does that make a difference?
No. I think I agree with Ruggs. I think the show is good as it is being not connected to anything. I think any of the problems I have with the show, that question you're bringing up would be by far the last.
Okay.
Like it not having ties to MCU doesn't really affect at all. There were other problems with the show, and that's not one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like lots of questions as the show ends. Like they kind of just, like what happened to Layla? He wakes up back. I love how he wakes up back in his bed, like episode 1. He's still tethered. There's 2 goldfish. So they each have a goldfish and they're talking to each other. But immediately I was like, oh, what the fuck happened to Layla? Where is she going to show up next? Where is Moon Knight going to show up next? Apparently, this is all still in the air. One of the producers hinted that we will see him again, but I know Oscar Isaac has only signed on to this 1-season contract. It kind of ends with this show.
Yeah, they Marvel, I think at least for these TV shows, maybe even for the movies, they're not locking in people anymore like that.
Right.
They're not locking in people to X amount of movies and TV shows. They're making one, and then they're leaving the door open for a conversation.
That is interesting.
For more.
Yeah, because it used to be like, okay, you get 3 full movies, you get a cameo, and you got to be in this TV show. And you have to fucking sign up for all of that.
It's great if they volunteer to come back and they want to do it.
Sure.
Because then they own it.
Right.
They don't feel like they've been tied into this thing that they have to do now for in perpetuity. But I would like it to continue because I think there's so much on the table here. First of all, we have this problem with Marvel that we have gods of every kind and realms of every kind and blah, blah, blah. And I was like interested to learn about a lot of them, but like, I feel like, yeah, they were just decorations. Like they were just things that were just, okay, don't look in that direction. There was that wall, remember, of all the Ushabtis?
Yeah, what about all those other gods?
I thought that those things were going to break, and then all of a sudden all these new gods are going to come out.
I thought Layla would just go grab the other ones and just start smashing them all to help.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
And it would have been cool if that would have happened, but we got stuck with Taweret, which is it's just so weird. I just still can't get over that. I have a cool costume. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Are you serious? This is a god. All right, come on. You gotta be kidding me.
She's adorable.
Who wrote that?
Taweret is adorable.
It does end in a way where you like they ended in. It almost has to be either season 2 of Moon Knight, or there's got to be a continuation of the movie, or in a movie or something. Just because it leaves it so like there's so much intrigue with the Jake Lockley character now.
That.
I don't necessarily agree with the way that they like saved it and skipped over a potential final fight with Jake, but you still you when you leave it like that, you're like, any fan that's interested in the show is gonna be like, well, I want to know what's going on with Jake. Like, I want to see their adventures together.
They kept you hanging, and I'm kind of upset that they cut out all like the best fight scenes. All the Jake. I remember in the beginning, I was like, I wonder if they'll ever go back and show any of these, and they did not. And I was like, fuck, they cut out all the good parts. And
yeah, that's what I wanted—a Fight Club moment where they went back and showed you all the times that he took over.
But like that also gave it the rushed feel because. Harrow has him. He's about to get him, and then boom, it's just flipped around. It's over. Done. Right?
I feel like, don't they know when they're shooting it that they're cramming everything into one like 42-minute episode?
It needed 7 or 8 episodes. Would have been great. 7 would have.
I don't know why they
either that or make the episode an hour long. You know, add another 20 minutes. You could like, why wouldn't they do that? I don't understand.
Yeah, it seems like on paper none of that makes sense. You have. And I don't think it had as many loose ends to tie up as previous Marvel shows, but it still had a lot going on. They rushed through a lot of things, and to make it the longest runtime, the shortest runtime of all the episodes,
that's crazy.
Doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. And I don't know. I have to think that it's just because that Marvel, their budgeting wise, they just budget for 6. But I feel like most of these shows, including this one, can use a 7th or an 8th episode.
Either that or just longer episodes.
Or just longer
a little
episodes.
bit longer.
Or just go 120, 130 on each
like
of these.
When you need it, use it.
Right.
Like, I think Game of Thrones did that. When they needed extra time,
they went like 80 minutes, or they would go over an hour sometimes. I read this other take online, and I thought this was kind of an interesting opinion. The show kind of deconstructs Moon Knight in front of your eyes, which is great, but we never get a proper construction of the Moon Knight, right? Like, how long has Mark been Moon Knight when we met him? Do you think that would have helped if we had a little more construction of the character before they just like deconstruct it? Or this was a good way to introduce us to a whole new character?
There is a point to be made there, but I don't really think I think that what they did was actually kind of fun, watching it unravel. And they could have peppered it in after the fact, like after they revealed Moon Knight and all that stuff. They could have maybe had some kind of a flashback or something of some of the Moon Knight's greatest hits, you know. But I think that they were saving a lot of those moments, like seeing Moon Knight fly, seeing what he can do.
Oh, yeah, he can fly now, by the way. Was that? I don't think that's his power in the comics. Can he fly?
I guess they could do anything now because they don't give a fuck.
It's gods. I didn't know
they're not sticking to the comics at all.
I was like, oh, he flies now? Okay.
I think what the intent of the show, and in a way it did kind of work, is they wanted you to be on your toes the entire time, including to the end, right? Because they reveal something at the end with Lockley. So for them to write it in a traditional constructing superhero way was not the intent. They never wanted you to feel like you knew anything was going on. So I think for me, when we were talking about the first few episodes, I was like, this works because I don't really understand what's going on.
Right,
so
right.
To go the other way, I don't know. I think you could have written the last episode better, but I don't think you needed to necessarily, like, to me, I don't care how long he's been Moon Knight. That doesn't matter to me.
No, I will agree because I thought it was a very clever way to do, because I loved episode 4 and 5, and it's like a very clever way to do his origin through the trauma of memories. And it was just a little bit different than straightforward. So, no, the mystery was always there, and it ends up being more a character study than like a superhero show. It's like a superhero show like 30% of the time, right? The rest of the time, though, it's just really interesting, intrigued. May have gotten a little bit cluttered with all the God storyline in there, as well as the DID study.
What do you think about? Okay, so in the comics, Moon Knight's kind of like one step in the direction of Batman above Daredevil.
Right.
Right. So Daredevil's basically Marvel's Batman. And then you got Moon Knight, which is, you got a cape, you got like kind of a sinister look. You got, Batman uses some like symbolism and whatnot, and Moon Knight does. They have money, they're whatever. So there is a lot of parallels, but they managed to make Moon Knight its own thing. It's like, I didn't think about Batman once.
Yeah,
there's no Batman.
It's more like Spawn than anything else.
Yeah, that's because of the gods and the supernatural stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. Overall, I did like the show. I think the chemistry of the show in terms of what they were trying to do, so they were trying to make it one part superhero show, one part like character study of this guy with multiple personalities, and one part Indiana Jones
adventure,
Egyptian god adventure.
Yeah.
And I think they most nail it when it's the character study stuff. The superhero stuff is kind of peppered in. For me, the Indiana Jones god stuff wasn't always hitting the way I wanted it to hit. So like, I think like they almost got the mix right, but not like enough to make the beaker explode. It wasn't like this was, we hit a home run with this. It was just like, we've got enough. We've got some of the chemicals, but we don't have the right mix.
Batman and Daredevil, they're just so like elegant, and they're not bogged down by a lot of things. They're very simplistic, and I think that's why it works so well, because it's just, you got one that's driven by revenge, and the other one's driven by, I don't know, some other thing. He's a lawyer, he cares about people.
His Catholicism.
Yeah. So Moon Knight's, I don't know what drives Moon Knight other than he's got multiple personalities, and Khonshu's the person that's driving this thing.
Right.
Khonshu's a god that that's what his role in the universe is to look for vengeance, right? So I think that's kind of cool that he's just a vessel, and it's actually Khonshu that's Batman. It's not Mark Spector. Mark Spector is just trying to fucking survive.
Oh, that's a good point.
And deal with this thing that's taken over. That could be interesting, but to explore that relationship, but they brought in all this other stuff. Like, and then you got DID on top of that, right? So there's really a lot of plates spinning on this. There's like a lot of things that they have to juggle. They have to make sure that they spend enough time with this and handle this correctly. This was not an easy show to do.
No, not at all. And overall, I think it was a satisfying ending and a satisfying show. They didn't quite stick it, I think, but it was very close. And overall, the experience is great. Let's just rate it and rank it overall, and we'll get into some thoughts from our listeners, what they thought. Anthony, let's start with you. Do whatever you want. Give it a number. We have 6 shows now, of course. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, What If, Loki, Hawkeye, Moon Knight. Where does this land for you? What did you think overall?
I think this is a 7.5.
Okay.
So it's 7's like it's good, score, and I think it's a little bit above good, but not great. I'm actually changing my ranking as we speak. Ooh. I had this high as number 2 behind WandaVision, but I think, as we've talked about, I think Loki is actually a little bit of a better show. with a better
That
ending
had the
and
better
a
ending,
more
yeah.
and a tighter story arc that you can follow than this. So I'm going to rank it third.
Okay. Behind WandaVision, Loki, and then Moon Knight.
Right.
Okay. Ruggs, what about you?
I have it tied for second in my ranking
Ooh.
with Loki.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think. Well, actually, I feel like it's a 3-way tie. They're all tied for first: WandaVision, Loki, and this. Because they're all different, and I mean, Loki and Moon Knight are more along the same lines because WandaVision is just so out there, but they're all doing different stuff, and like Loki is very much tied to what's going to happen in the future of the MCU. Moon Knight isn't, and Wanda is as well. So I think that the fact that it's kind of flying solo without that stuff to bolster
Right,
it up,
without any connection.
I think that it's pretty noteworthy.
Yeah.
I probably would give it a 7.5, but I might even be inclined to give it an 8 on whatever day.
There you go.
Because the acting is far beyond anything that we've seen.
Absolutely.
Like, you want to talk about WandaVision good acting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. But this is on another level. This is a dude who's acting with himself. This is a dude who's playing two completely different characters.
Yeah.
Nailing it. Like, and there's, as we talked about, some of the most kind of cathartic, awful things he's been through in his life that he has to try and manifest some kind of like good out of it. It's crazy. And then on top of it, he's being possessed by a fucking an Egyptian god. So there's a lot of things that he's got to do, and he just kills it. He kills it in like every single way possible. Like, he's convincing as a dude who can kick ass.
Yeah.
And he's convincing as a dude who can't fucking get laid.
As a dweeb,
Like,
and he's convincing, breaking down and crying as both of those characters. And you
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that he really did a great job as far as conveying the character and really doing something that could be in a movie, like in a serious drama. So that's to be commended. So I think that will, I'll give an extra 0.5 on the score.
Yeah, no, I'll agree. High level of difficulty pulling this off in that you are introducing a new main solo superhero into this MCU on the TV show for the first time on the, in this journey. I gotta say, Oscar Isaac's performance is like, it stands out so much. If you look at these other shows, yes, there was some great acting, but this was something special, exactly for what you just said, Ruggs. So that definitely elevates it. I love the mystery, and I love the fact that it could have been darker and edgier, maybe, but it's definitely heading in that Midnight Suns kind of Netflix Marvel shows arena, so I was happy about that. I put it in the top 3. I still think WandaVision is just special to me, and especially with the movie we're going to talk about next. And then, yeah, maybe Loki maybe edges it out a little, or it's tied with Loki. It's really hard.
Yeah, I could see either way.
But, man, Oscar Isaac just fucking killing it. It was so impressive. Such commitment. And I do feel like he would want to come back. You know, hearing all what the reaction to this that's largely been positive, even though some people bailed at the 3rd episode.
I mean, you got a lot of Oscar Isaac. If he wants screen time, he's got loads of it.
This is no fucking Poe Dameron on Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. This is no Apocalypse under makeup. This is Oscar Isaac on screen like fucking Tom Hanks and Castaway fucking screen time. Just him out there hanging, floating. Well said. So yeah, I'll give it a 7.5, 8, 7.5 ish. But I really enjoyed it. I wish it was longer. It went by so quickly. I kind of wish it had maybe one more episode to flesh some things out.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't really love it, but I think they're looking for something different than what the show is.
I think it succeeds in leaving you wanting more, right? Like you're like, give me fucking Jake Lockley. I need to see what the fuck this is. And if that's what they meant to do, I think they did that.
See, I think that if it'd be interesting to see what the show is without Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Without all of this, other stuff. With him and Layla just, going through and dispensing justice and getting embroiled in different things. I'd like to see how that turns out.
Yeah, and so they introduced 2 new characters. Like, I would love to see Scarlet Scarab show up with him wherever he shows up next, whether it's a team.
They never officially named her Scarlet.
Yeah, I don't know. Because isn't Scarlet red?
Scarlet means red.
Yeah, I don't think she was wearing much red, was she?
She was wearing not so much
White,
red, but
gold.
there is a character called Scarlet Scarab, and she had the Scarab, and I don't know why she has Scarab fighting powers.
They kept calling her the little Scarab.
The little Scarab. Otherwise, what do you can call her? Little Hippo? She's a hippo woman?
Yeah, that was just a mismatch. And that's because I don't know. I just don't understand.
I love when Towerett comes in with the boat, like while they're running to the gate, and Steven's like, Hippo! And he's just still happy. He just had some funny lines. Great. And like, Steven was hilarious. Steven had so many great funny lines. It really worked. F. Murray Abraham also did a great job. I love that Khonshu was a dick. That really worked. So, and all the Egyptian and Arab cast and the authenticity, I think Mohammed Diab nailed it. They pulled it off. Very fun show. Listener, you know what you can pull on is a Jock and Nerd t-shirt. You can put it on, or a hoodie, or a tank top. You can find all this at our TeePublic shop. Visit jockandnerd.com/shop. You can also drink coffee out of a Jock and Nerd mug, or have Rug Boy's face, on your chest, wherever you want. We're there. Check it out. Okay, here's from our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation, which is a place you can also join to geek out. It's a closed group just for our listeners. Here's a couple of comments from the group. Rick Martinez said Scarlet Scarab and Amit look great, but Jake Lockley kicking the wheelchair was the shit. That was great. Justin Zwerner says, I really liked it, to be honest. I wanted more action. So
all hail King Imran.
Well, absolutely all hail.
Shit.
It's fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's right. This is a common sentiment, the more action. Jesse Rodriguez on this episode says, fuck yes, best Marvel show to date, hands down for Jesse Rodriguez. Ethan Cranford said he really enjoyed Moon Knight, easily his favorite Marvel show, but he's a bit fed up with Marvel making half-finished shows. Just tell one contained story and then expand on it. Stop using the connected universe as an excuse not to tell a full story. I feel like it wasn't half finished, like it didn't connect to anything, but it was just rushed.
Yeah, it just needed a longer last episode.
I think it's the most kind of contained out of all of them, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Joe Henry loved this series. I think it could have had more action, but the story made up for it. And Steve Morrison could always use more. Moon Knight would have liked Mr. Knight to be Mr. Knight, but there's a place for the show to grow beyond this 6 episodes. Yeah, it was a solid setup and potential for the future of this character, which is great. You got Moon Knight.
I wonder. Hopefully, Oscar Isaac comes back. Would hate to see if this. I mean, this is just the end of it. It's a good show, but they ended in a way where there's so many more stories to tell.
Can't be a one and done. I mean, the way they ended it.
We all want to see more. That's a good sign, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So they leave you wanting more. And, what's ironic is none of these shows outside of Loki and I think What If so far have announced a second season. Some shows you can't really do a second season. Like you can't do another WandaVision. That's kind of burnt, right? You could do another Falcon show.
No, we just did the second season of WandaVision.
We did. We're going to talk about the second season of WandaVision. Hawkeye also, I don't know if you need a second season, but Moon Knight.
Don't care to see it.
Yeah,
no.
Moon Knight and Loki, definitely give me season 2s. And What If will come back. Give me some more crazy What Ifs. So, next thing for Disney Plus on the Marvel side, Miss Marvel.
Oh, shit, boner.
I'm Miss Marvel, the Pakistani immigrant superhero teenager from Jersey. Kamala Khan coming to the screens June 8th, a month away, just a little under a month away. Can't wait for that. So, all right, we'll take a quick break here, play some promos. We're going to come back and talk about the Doctor Strange sequel right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention podcast listeners and YouTube watchers. I'm Logan, the host of Mostly Superheroes, a weekly pursuit for the world's best stories with an emphasis on live-action superhero stuff. Every week, join me, PC Mike, The Giggler, Scotty Scoop, and Carrie as we talk MCU, DCU, books, TV, movies, and more. Mostly superheroes.com is where you want to be. Watch us on YouTube, listen where you get your podcast, and we'll see you Sunday on Patreon. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Forgive the interruption, but I believe this requires your attention.
If you ever believed Captain America was on the U.S. Olympic soccer team.
If you ever thought that the Winter Soldier was that brace yourselves guy on the internet.
And if you ever wondered just what would a raccoon do with a machine gun.
Then don't let another week pass you by without tuning into
Mighty Marvel Geeks.
Mighty Marvel Geeks is your show about all things Marvel.
With news, rumors, commentary, and interviews.
As well as our weekly recommendations on what to pick up on New Comic Book Day.
Official consulting hours are between 8 and 5 every other Thursday.
That's Mighty Marvel Geeks on WeebieGeeks.net, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Doc and Nerd.
Listener, if you have been listening to us for a while, if you enjoy the show, if it makes you chuckle or groan or cry or cringe, I think it's a good time for you to join our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Jock and Nerd. You can support the show on a monthly or annual basis, and you get benefits. You get special things. For example, you get a bonus exclusive RSS feed where the shows come out early, and there's bonus content. There's post shows. We put up our instant reactions to Doctor Strange sequel this week, and Anthony has put up a huge 80s reaction audio of what, Anthony? This is like a bonus extra giant sized one.
Well, it's not actually that big. It's like 12 minutes.
That's what she said. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's 12 minutes. Long enough.
That's what I said.
Yeah. 12 minutes. Instead of doing individual movie reviews, I just reviewed or did my reaction to both the Lethal Weapon 1 and 2.
Okay.
Above the Law. And I'm forgetting the other movie I did.
Well, you're going to have to sign up and listen. It's a surprise. Fourth movie, but it's all
Rambo 2.
Oh, Rambo 2. Man, 80s, a total 80s action movie mode. Check that out. If you sign up, you will hear that. You will also get Discord benefits where we do a monthly hangout on our Patreon-only Discord server. You get access to the server. This month's hangout, May 2022, tentatively scheduled for Thursday, May 19th at 8 p.m., but that may change. I may have a work thing. Keep an eye on the Patreon page. We may have to push it back a day or a week. I will let you know. If you are signed up for the Patreon, you will know. And then also there's a You Pick It tier where you can force us to watch and review any movie. And we will be getting to a few of those in the coming weeks as this show ends. Gives us some breathing room. We're going to talk about some random movies. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Sign up today, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Okay. Oh, boy, let's get to it. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Full spoiler review. Here are your spoiler alerts.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
Oh, man, we are at the 28th MCU movie in this journey. First of all, it's fucking crazy. This is the 28th connected movie. This is the 5th movie in this phase 4. If these phases even matter anymore, I'm not sure. Of course, Doctor Strange, initially created by Marvel Comics, created by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, way back in 1963, had his first appearance. Multiverse of Madness, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, sitting at a 75% tomato meter. 6.5 out of 10 average rating. Audience thinks it's 87% in their verified ratings. So Marvel continues to just bring theaters back, right? After the pandemic, we're still in, I don't know what phase of the pandemic we're in, but the summer movie season has kicked off because the box office for this is doing really well. The movie had a budget of $200 million. Now, to compare, the first movie, way back in like 2016, opened to $85 million and finished at $232 million domestically, $676 million worldwide. Okay, not bad for Doctor Strange #1. This movie, opening weekend, has made $187 million.
Oh, shit.
So domestic. And I said 185 last week. You guys were a little high. I got the closest. I don't know what that means.
You win,
Do I win something?
Good for you, Emron. You finally win something in your life.
Finally win something. So look at this. It's sitting at 187 million domestic opening weekend. Currently worldwide, it's already at $411 million worldwide.
Wow.
This is the 11th biggest domestic opening of all time. With the exception of Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness had the biggest debut for any MCU title without the word Avengers or Spider-Man in the title. A couple of more stats from Eric Davis on Twitter, who is a writer. It's the biggest opening of 2022. It is the best opening for a Sam Raimi movie. It is the 7th biggest opening for a Marvel movie. It is the highest ever for a second MCU solo movie. And it has the biggest box office lift between a first and second movie in the MCU. With that 411-ish million dollar globally, it's the 10th biggest opening of all time worldwide, 5th biggest for an MCU film. Could have been bigger. This movie did not get released in China or Egypt and Saudi Arabia, all places where it's been banned. Which is ironic because Marvel just gave you an Egyptian superhero and then they go and ban the next movie coming out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
It's because of the two moms, I guess.
It's because of the one character being LGBTQ character.
But they don't even allude to it.
No, they don't. She has two moms. That's all they say. The China.
She's got that. She's wearing the pin.
Oh, yeah. She has a rainbow pin on. The China thing is even more wacky. Apparently, in one of the teaser trailers, there is a shot of a Chinese newspaper that is very anti the Communist Party in China. And they saw that and they're like, nope, we're not putting this out here because of that. I was like, man, somebody was really paying attention to those trailers. The movie, of course, is directed by the great Sam Raimi, stepping in after Scott Derrickson leaves the project a few years ago. Written by Michael Waldron, who recently has wrote on Loki, and music by Danny Elfman. And you get that Danny Elfman feel. Of course, starring Benedict Cumberbatch as your Doctor Strange, Elizabeth Olsen returning as Wanda. You got Benedict Wong as Wong. Xochitl Gomez, I think that's how you say her name. There's a TL at the end, but I think it's silent. I think it's Xochitl Gomez, America Chavez, Rachel McAdams coming back as Christine Palmer, and other cameos we will get to as we discuss the movie. Wow. Well, Anthony, what happens in Multiverse of Madness? Explain this one.
Did you hit the spoiler? You did, right?
I did.
Spoiler alert.
Step
Just
away.
making sure.
Yes.
Making sure. So this movie is about Doctor Strange being involved in having to help America Chavez. So America Chavez is this new character in the Marvel universe that can travel travel through the multiverse. And Wanda, coming off of WandaVision, has been corrupted by the Darkhold and wants to get to her kids. And the only way she's figured out how to get to her kids is she needs to steal the power of America Chavez. And in doing so, that would kill her. And Doctor Strange is like, nope, can't do that. You can't kill her. So the movie is basically Doctor Strange protecting America Chavez from now corrupted Scarlet Witch Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah, it becomes like a chase movie, really.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah, to spare America Chavez, millions of people die. No problem.
I suppose for this one girl. Well, okay, before we get into our opening thoughts, Anthony, tell me, how many times have you seen this? Tell me about your theater experience a little bit. I would like to know about that.
Seen it twice.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Seen it twice. I saw it opening night on Thursday, like a 9:00 showing. It was in a packed theater, definitely buzzing. You know, you park in the garage and you have to park on the 5th floor because every spot is taken and there's so many showings with packed. You know, as I was going to the bathroom, another showing was coming out, and I could hear them talking about, oh, you know, I like the CGI or didn't like the CGI, and I was like, oh shit, I kind of like get out of this fucking bathroom.
No, can't hear you.
The theater itself was very warm for some reason.
Oh.
I was sweating a lot. Not as buzzy as obviously Spider-Man No Way Home. There weren't as many moments where people were, you know, standing up and cheering or anything. There actually wasn't any. But there was people, definitely some vocal moments during cameos and some loud laughs during some things and laughs during things that I don't know if Raimi intended there to be laughs at. But
I caught that too. We'll talk about
or maybe he did. Maybe he did intend it. So overall, it was a fun theater experience, but nowhere near a No Way Home.
Mine was similar. It was a packed theater. The parking lot is full. I knew right away. I went on the Thursday. I'm like, oh, there's going to be a lot of people here. I got to park way the fuck back there. But receptive crowd, couple of cheering moments, nowhere near like Spider-Man No Way Home, like you said. And the same with the laughter in the third act. So we could discuss whether that was intentional or not. But it was a great audience, had a good time. Ruggs, how was your theater experience? You saw it how many times?
I only saw it once. Okay. When I got to the theater, it was crowded. It was like during the day. And there was 2 little girls sitting in my seat.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, hey.
Lame.
Like, how do I do this? Like, they're going to think I'm crazy, or are they going to, like, I don't know what they're going to do. So I'm like, hey, you're in my seat. And they're like, no, we're not. And then they showed me their phone. I'm like, how come you have a phone? You're like 8. Anyway, but
that's all you needed to do, Ruggs.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's all you needed to say.
I was like, I didn't want to grab their phone and look at it because I knew something was up. And I'm like, you're in the wrong theater. Clearly, there's another theater you should be in. So I went to I had to go tell on them.
Oh man!
Oh my
and
God!
Then I had to be that guy who just had like the theater guy like grab their phone and look at it. No, you're in the wrong theater. You're this grown person actually can read what seats he's supposed to have.
This cranky old puppet's throwing us out of our seats,
yeah.
Mom.
Oh man, where was the parent?
Yeah, no parents.
There was no parents.
Oh really? It was just them, and they just went to the wrong theater.
They were in, there's a multiplex. I think it was playing at the same time.
Oh.
And they were in the wrong seat in the wrong theater.
Right.
I'm like, you got to be in theater 7. I'm in theater 9, you idiot. Come on, like, check it. And, but whatever.
I'm sorry.
So that was weird.
Yeah,
I almost missed the beginning of the movie because I had to get that all straighted out.
I love that you had to call like the guy that's like, this is
because
his high
I
school
didn't want to be like threatening them as I feel weird. I'm like, at least it's the theater. Yeah, I could have been like the dick and be like, no, blah blah blah, and start yelling at them.
We could have had a viral video on our hands, Rod.
Yeah, I want to avoid any kind of confrontation that was going to get taken out of context. So I'm like, let me just do this by the book, kids.
Look at this puppet yelling at these kids.
Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur.
And they can take me. So it's not like,
And
whatever.
the movie's too scary for them anyways. Get the fuck out of the seats.
Yeah, so but there was reactions to things, but nowhere near as big as No Way Home.
Well, let's start with you this time. I don't know where to start. Tell me overall how you felt at the end, what you liked. Maybe let's start there.
Well, I'll say this. I thought it was a very entertaining film. I think that Sam Raimi, for the most part, did the most that he could with it, but he did go off the rails a few times. And, I feel like that when you have to do certain things all the time because you're Sam Raimi, it's annoying.
Okay.
There was two particular things that I thought were really silly.
Okay.
The music note fight was my eyes were rolling like dice. They were like just rolling. And
that was different. I mean, a creative
I was like,
idea.
you gotta be fucking kidding me. We're doing fucking musical notes now.
It was kind of came
I'm like,
out of
why
nowhere.
don't they just fucking start dancing to jazz like they do in the other movies that you do? I'm like, cut this shit, Raimi. Cut this shit. You've done it already. And then he does the Evil Dead slappy thing when things like are in, you're slapping them like Bruce Campbell does in Evil Dead. Like they were doing that when Scarlet Witch was getting attacked by the zombies or whatever. She's like slapping their hands.
Oh, right.
Scarlet Witch doesn't do that. She's not doing that. So I felt like that he kind of overreached in those, but barring those two things and the zombie thing that he had to go and get a zombie too, I feel like it was very entertaining and actually more fun than a lot of the MCU movies that we've just come out. So like more fun than the Eternals.
Yeah, it's more fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more fun and a lot more like engaging than that movie. So I was on for the ride, but as soon as I thought about it for 2 seconds, I was like, whoa. Like anytime I had to make myself stop thinking because I was like, do you want to enjoy this movie or not?
Yeah.
All right. Stop thinking immediately.
Yeah.
stop thinking about how fucking none of this makes any sense and they could solve this in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need for Scarlet Witch to do anything that she's doing. It doesn't make sense that out of the vastness, out of a million universes, that she wants to choose the one where she's already the parents to something. She doesn't give a shit about Vision, obviously, anymore, that he could exist.
Where was he?
Like,
Where's that white Vision?
There's got to be a universe where the Vision is the dad and the kids, and then Scarlet Witch died or went crazy or was in an institution or something, or locked up. Then she could swoop in. Like, it just was like these things like this doesn't make any sense that she wants to go and, it was, and there was like 2 MacGuffins at the same time. There was America Chavez
There's 3
and this
MacGuffins.
book.
There's 2 books.
Yeah,
so there's 3 MacGuffins and you're MacGuffin chasing the whole time.
So there was a lot of that. And the fact that like all these people are dying to save America Chavez, and like we don't even know why, because we don't really get to know her as a character that much, really, other than that we know her parents and she's looking for her parents, basically. That's why she's universe jumping, which is okay. That's a good motive. But barring that, it was a good time. It was visually interesting. I don't know if the characterizations were on point, but the acting was good. So the characters might not be written right, but at least they're performing well and everybody's like engaging to watch.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, it was a balance. It was like, and it leaned more to entertaining. Every time, like, I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense, but it's fun to watch. Okay, this is fun to watch. It was like, in a lot of ways, it was like No Way Home. It was like very fun to watch, just don't think about it. And that's what I'll say about that.
Visually compelling for sure. Anthony.
Yes.
We had, after all the rumors and all the rumored cameos and all the hype that we had to kind of sift through, based on what actually happens in the movie, how did it leave you feeling? And did that affect your entertainment?
I will say, I think I did like the movie. So I'll start off by saying I would rate it positively in that sense. I think the movie is definitely a mixed bag of things. I'll start off first. I've looked at a lot of the online stuff.
Yeah.
I think Cinema Score said this is the second lowest rated Marvel movie,
which is like
Eternals.
a B+.
Which is B+.
Usually
right.
they get A's and A-
sure.
A pluses.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's that, but that's still a high B+ means B+.
Yeah, it's good.
I think coming off of No Way Home and how great of an experience that was, and with the tease of not only the title, so you got Multiverse of Madness, but then the trailers explicitly showing, or not showing, but giving you audio that Professor X is in this movie. People were going wild on this, the whole thing, including me. I was like, this is going to be a huge movie for Marvel. Another one of those stand and cheer movies. And it really is not that movie. There are cameos, but I think a lot of the expectations that Marvel set for themselves by doing what they did and how they marketed the movie, it was obviously a rousing success at the box office. So kudos to them. They hit it well, and
it's a marketing victory,
right? It's a huge marketing victory. Money.
The marketing is misleading, also. Yeah,
but it does create the expectation of what this movie is, and it really isn't that movie. As I mentioned, it's more of a woman, a broken woman that really wants to get to her family, and a character study on that, and Doctor Strange seeing alternate versions of himself and having to give up the fact that he can't always be the one holding the knife. He's got to let go. Like, there's some interesting things there with Doctor Strange and people, like the scene where his former colleagues, like, did it have to be that way? Like, did you have to give up the time stone? Like, there's some interesting themes there, and it's more of a vehicle for Sam Raimi to play than it is a universe-altering stand and cheer movie. So I would say that in some aspects, it accomplishes what it needs to accomplish, and it is good for Marvel in that they're letting Sam Raimi do his thing, for better or worse. You get a lot of Sam Raimi has a very particular style, and like I said, for better or worse, you get all of that in this movie, and some of it hits, some of it doesn't. It depends on what kind of fan it is. But as far as the expectation they created, they disappointed in that sense. So I think it's a very mixed movie. But overall, I mean, I did appreciate it. I just wasn't I wouldn't say I was emotionally involved as I wanted to be coming off of what my expectations were and the No Way Home.
The second time, did that change anything for you, or was it just more of like, yeah, no, it's the same?
The second time, actually, there's parts of it that kind of drag.
Okay.
The middle part kind of drags a little bit.
Yeah.
It is still, it's one of those movies where I think we'll look back on it and we'll go, it's cool Sam Raimi got to do his thing.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's going to be a big segment of the fan base that's like, this was not what I wanted from this movie.
Yeah. What did you think, Imran?
The marketing was a little misleading. I had fun, right? So overall, I do like the movie. Again, visually great to look at. I was trying to go see it again in 3D because I was like, oh, I bet this looks fucking great in 3D. And like you said, Ruggs, I agree. The performances really worked. I almost think Elizabeth Olsen steals the movie away every time she's on scene.
It didn't feel like a Doctor Strange movie.
No.
It felt like a Scarlet Witch movie.
It did, but I loved seeing her journey and seeing her be badass and just brutal. So overall, yes, fun. What a little bit disappointed in what I was expecting based on maybe it was a little overhyped. And the trailers made it seem like maybe there was another bad guy, right? The trailers were also kind of misleading, and that the cameos, while they were fun, and that was, of course, where everybody was hooting and hollering, what happens to them is kind of hilarious, and also like you're like, really? Also, so I also felt like the ending was a little bit rushed. They did cut about a half an hour from this movie. You could have used maybe 15, 20 minutes back. I thought it started out real strong, drops you right in. The action was great. Even though the third act was rushed, I enjoyed the visual and the battles, and then the cameo scene was just crazy.
I thought that was a waste.
A little bit, but here's what I love. I love getting the Evil Dead Darkman kind of feel. And I love how like James Gunn has his flavor in the Guardians movies, but they're still Marvel movies. Then you have Taika Waititi kind of figuring out the formula for Thor. And if they're to do more, keep Sam Raimi on. I think he's figured out almost a good balance of his horror, corny comedy, and like drama to wrap Doctor Strange in moving forward. I don't know if the horror, corny, Evil Dead shit works completely for this, because that's where everyone was laughing, right? Were they supposed to be laughing? Did Sam intended it, Zombie Strange, to kind of be goofy when you're looking at him talking? I don't know.
My entire theater, not entire, but a lot of my people were laughing when he talked.
Yeah, but the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness movies have the same effect, right? It's scary, but it's jump scares, but it's also funny and ridiculous.
It's silly.
It's silly. It's campy almost.
I'll say this. I think I'll give credit where it's due. I think I like that Marvel let Raimi do that. It really depends, though, on your mileage for that kind of humor. Like that kind of humor is not mainstream at all. Yeah. So I appreciate Marvel letting him do that, but it's also one of those things where a lot of people are going to not like it. They're going to think it's stupid.
Yeah, like Sam Raimi can be cheesy, and it's going to have. I would think at this point, like, I understand that when he was coming up, he was kind of doing his own thing, but now that you're stepping into this kind of like established way of doing things, yeah, there's silly humor all over the Marvel universe. And sometimes it gets too, like, James Gunn did that thing with the freaking cartoony shit where he was like, when they were bouncing in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
And Taika does it in Thor Ragnarok. Like the ball hits him in the head like it's a fucking Three Stooges short or something.
This is even a degree further to like a weird sense of humor.
Yeah, this is like where it's just silly. Where like you're doing like some silly shit.
I didn't mind it, but it is like you've got a zombie Strange.
It stands out a little bit,
flying with using demons to fly.
It looked awesome with its wings. Yeah, using undead souls.
It's different.
Yeah,
I didn't mind that much. The humor was a little bit, I think, out of place. Like Doctor Strange has this thing with his cloak,
right?
Like his cloak, even in the first movie, his cloak's obnoxious.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
It was slapping them around.
That's as far as you need to go in Doctor Strange.
I mean, I still think it kind of captured some of the essence of the comics in the weirdness, right? Because you would see a giant eye monster or...
let me point out one word where I was like, "Oh, this is
okay."
The zombie Stranges were people were laughing,
yeah.
But the one after having watched it twice, the scene where America Chavez steps up and she's going to fight Wanda, she jumps off and punches her,
right?
And she looks down at her hand, she goes, "Uh-huh," and then Wanda looks at her, goes, and like makes the weirdest looking face.
Oh my God!
Before she
really?
gets punched again.
Oh my God!
And just like, oh, what the fuck? Who wrote it that
What
way?
is happening here?
It's just a strange back and forth.
So the production, from what I understand, was also kind of crazy. That they did the reshoots, but they were also writing the end as they were shooting it. It did have, we talked about how this was supposed to come before. They had to restructure everything. So for them,
I don't think the end. See, I don't have necessarily a problem with the end. The if you look at it for Doctor Strange's lens, the protagonist, the whole thing is him having to let go of the knife. Yeah. He has to learn to trust other people. Right. And I actually think his arc is all right. Like they use the other versions of him to look at it and go, this is what happens if I don't change. I can end up like these guys where I end up unilaterally making decisions that I think are the best for the entire universe, and I fuck things up.
Yeah.
So I need to acknowledge that, hey, this is a version of me that could happen. This is a flaw in me, but I need to acknowledge that and pivot away from that flaw in this moment by letting America Chavez
figure out how
take
to
over.
Figure it out. Use her powers.
Right.
And
I like that angle. I really like the angle of the guy going in the beginning where I mentioned this earlier of the guy going, was that the only way?
Oh, at the wedding.
Everyone just in Thanos in Infinity War, because everyone just is like, oh yeah, that's the way. It was 1 out of 4. We trust you that you did that, but like, why do we trust him? How come he was the only one that got to see all the futures and just decided, yep, I'm going to let go of 5 years of people's lives and get rid of half of the universe?
I had to give him the stone. This had to happen.
He had to, but I think naturally people would be like,
I don't trust him. Why?
Really?
Yeah.
That was the only way? That was the best option you had. So I like that angle. Mm-hmm. And I like that it leads to him at the end being like, okay, I got to fucking let go of the rope a little bit.
They didn't kill Wong like we thought they were going to. Also, I thought that was interesting.
We should talk about the cameos.
Let's
though.
get to the cameos.
Knock those out real quick.
So one of my other criticisms is you get to see a few multiverses when they're crashing through. But I wish there was more. Like it could have been crazier. Should have been a little more mad. But they land in Earth 838. Earth 616 gets a name drop. They are arrested. He's brought to the Illuminati, which consists of Mordo, alternate Mordo, not his Mordo, of course. You got Captain Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell, then fucking Anson Mount as Blackagar Boltagon.
Oh, shit.
This one I was not expecting. Does this mean that Shitty Inhuman show is canon? What the fuck?
No.
Wow, right? With the tuning fork. You got Maria Rambeau, the mother from Captain Marvel of Monica Rambeau being Captain Marvel. And then Professor Charles Xavier, of course, you saw in the trailer. And then the biggest reaction had to be when fucking John Krasinski shows up as Dr. Reed Richards. He looked amazing. The suit looked great. He's got a legit blue costume. I was like, oh, shit, I can't believe
shit.
In my theater, it was Professor X.
Okay, that one.
And it was because, I heard your I can't believe you didn't hear that musical
because
cue.
people were like talking and cheering.
It was like, I know,
and
then he like
that.
rolls in. Those are the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the
and then
big
Black
ones.
Bolt was like, what the fuck?
I was
Black
like,
Bolt?
who is that? Is that Anson Mount? What the fuck? Yeah, them doing the X-Men cue is so great. Danny Elfman putting that in, and I can't believe the fucking people were talking. I missed that. But then there's a big exposition dump as Charles Xavier explains the Jonathan Hickman incursion storyline that happens in the Avengers. And then they are all summarily murdered by fucking Wanda, who is inhabiting dream walking.
Very easily.
Yes,
like
daywalking
For some reason, she shreds.
Okay, how do they die is also
Reed
hilarious.
Richards.
Yes, that was kind
and then she decides to fight Peggy Carter like hand-to-hand combat.
So Reed Richards getting shredded like string cheese was a little disturbing. I thought the idea of Black Bolt taking away his mouth so that when he said something, it bounces back and blows his brains out. That was wild.
There was an audible gasp.
I was like, oh, Captain Carter getting sliced
because
in
of
half.
the blood out of his nose and his eyes filling up with blood too.
Jesus
Like,
Christ, yeah. And then they allude to Captain Carter getting sliced in half. You see a little bit of blood, and then Monica Rambeau gets a statue dropped on her, and then she goes into Charles Xavier's head and fucking snaps his neck. Jesus.
I actually,
wow,
that was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, that was great. That was
I know
great.
that it makes the Illuminati look like shit, and I'm the big Illuminati guy.
Yeah.
But I think with it being alternate universe,
yes, what does this mean?
You can let Sam. This was basically going, okay, Sam Raimi, have some fun and do the Carrie thing with this.
So these characters exist in other universes. Do you think it's going to be Krasinski as Reed Richards, also the same cast? It's okay? It could be completely different. Okay.
I think the rules on the multiverse stuff. There are characters that look exactly the same. And there are characters like Spider-Man who they looked completely different.
So it makes sense why they fucking killed Anson Mount then. They're just like, your show sucked. We're going to bring you in and kill you for good.
Well, I don't even think that show is like that show could have happened in another multiverse.
That's
this is just
true.
838 Black Bolt.
Yeah, because then I'm like, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, is Chloe Bennett going to show up in one of these things as Quake? Like, you could do that now. But also with the incursions, you can this is how you could bring in the X-Men. There could be an incursion happening and the X-Men come over from that universe to stop them from destroying each other or whatever.
I think we gotta pump the brakes on all the
X-Men.
Everyone was like, oh, X-Men's showing up, Fantastic Four's showing up. In this movie, unless you guys read it differently, I felt like this movie was just like, we are using these characters to have them killed. We have no plans right now. Like, this movie is not the jumpstart to any of this stuff.
No, they just like...
But like the thing is like after this film, I felt like, all right, we're going to know where the Marvel Universe is heading. We're going to have this idea of like what Phase 4 is really about. And I don't really feel that happened.
No.
And that's not good.
I don't think they have a plan like that right now.
I think they do. I just don't think this movie, this movie was marketed in a way that I think everyone expected that, including me, and that they didn't. That's not what they're accomplishing.
So you have WandaVision that ties into this.
Yeah, you had to watch that to get to
this.
Then
show. You got Loki, who ties into Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's supposedly and you can finish, but Kevin Feige was like, the events of Loki what caused No Way Home in this movie to happen.
Okay.
Because Kang is not protecting the multiverse anymore.
Right. So things are happening, but I don't really see them building to anything other than these tangential crossover thingies where we're kind of dipping our toe into multiverse.
The speculation I saw online from Screen Crush was that because these incursions are going to start happening and the worlds are going to break up, that they're building to an eventual Secret Wars storyline.
Yes, I could see that. I could see that happening. And so, look, where does it leave us? Let's jump real quick to the post-credit scene, the first one, because suddenly Steven is walking and Charlize Theron shows up. I was like, oh, shit. And I did not know who this person was. She's wearing purple. I was like, who the fuck is this? She tells him.
Marvel did a very good job of. I didn't think anyone had any idea that Charlize Theron was in the Marvel.
I remember there was some rumor like a long time ago that she was in talks for a role, but then it kind of like came and went, right? So yeah, that was a surprise. But she tells him, what you did caused an incursion. I need your help to fix it. She slices open reality, and you see like the dark dimension, like where Dormammu is. And Steven's like, okay, I'm in. And he pops his third eye open. That's a whole other thing. He gets a third eye, and they get into the thing. Now, I found out who this is. You know who this is? Who wants to explain who this is?
It's Clea.
It's Clea, of course, the psychic TV reader, Miss Clea.
Call me now.
Call me now. I'm Dr. Strange's person. Call me. I know magic. No, it's not that Clea.
I remember that.
Miss Clea.
Wait, before you even get into Clea, I just want to say one thing, and then you can get into Clea. That post-credit scene, first off, no one knew. They were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
My friends were like, we finally getting it. The Fast and Furious crossover with the MCU.
Family. Yeah.
But the only thing about that ending would be fine, but the way the movie ends with first Steven walking down the street and then the third eye.
Yes.
He's like,
Yeah, we got to talk about that too.
And that's like very dark, very Sam Raimi-esque, where it ends on like a weird like horror thing.
Yeah.
But then like to have the post-credit scene where you sit there for 2 minutes and then the post-credit scene opens up with, he's walking down the street
He's
again.
just like,
and then something else happened,
like,
and
what?
then another crazy thing, and then he has the eye pop out.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm ready.
What?
It's like, you just like bypassed the fact that like he was in horror because the Darkhold has a hold of him and he's got a third eye, and now you're like rushing through and you're like, yep, let's show him down the street walking again, and he's already over that and he's going to deal with it.
They changed the third eye because essentially that is just the eye of Agamotto, right? It kind of means that you are an advanced sorcerer, but they changed the eye of Agamotto to the thing, and now they're implying that the Darkhold causes this, as we saw with
He's got
Sister.
a little bit of evil in him.
So because he did possess a corpse, his own corpse. Anyways, Clea turns out Dormammu's niece, student of Stephen Strange in the comics. They eventually get married, and she helps him defeat Dormammu. But I saw this as, Incursion, Secret Wars. But, just a loose, like, here's the next thing, not really.
And maybe their way of going, Rachel McAdams, you have no chemistry with Benedict Cumberbatch.
She got kind of sidelined, too. Mordo, kind of like, where's the original Mordo, 616 Mordo? I was kind of curious, like, what he was doing. But the other Christine Palmer does help and provides she knew how to use the fucking chamber with the fire that he didn't know how to use in the first movie. Remember when he was fighting Cassilis?
Yeah, she blasts a demon and goes, go to hell.
Yeah, that's
straight Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it's not the greatest writing now that when you isolate just that one line. But think about it.
I think, but wait, don't. Let's stay right there real quick. I think when you brought up earlier, I think a lot of that was intentional. I think Raimi was trying to be cheesy on a lot of this
I think
shit.
he was too. I think he was too at the end with the zombie strange, like just having fun with
Some
it.
of the lines too,
Yeah.
I think were like intentionally cheesy.
I mean,
his sensibilities.
You just need Bruce Campbell going, this is my boomstick. Come and get some, baby. Come and get some shit.
The post credit scene, it ends and he's done punching himself, and he looks at the camera and goes, "It's over."
That's great. I loved him as the pizza papa, whatever, and that's a whole Evil Dead reference where that scene in Evil Dead where he's fighting his possessed hand is amazing. It's so good. It's so fucking funny and cheesy and scary.
Yeah, but why do we have to keep doing the same thing
shit over
and
and over again?
Yeah.
And you want to know something, Imran?
Yeah.
I know you liked it.
Yeah.
My theater had absolutely no reaction to Bruce
To
Campbell
the Bruce
whatsoever.
Campbell, some people did in my theater, but not a lot. Some people are like, who's that?
There were some murmurs, but no one, for the most part, no one, and this is a hardcore MCU audience, obviously, on a Thursday night. No one was like reacting in any sort of way where they understood who even Bruce Campbell was.
You got to be a Raimi fan. It's a very specific niche of the movie audience.
Army of Darkness.
You're a Raimi fan. You know that Bruce Campbell
Evil
is
Dead.
in every Sam Raimi movie.
Absolutely.
I liked his cameos better in the Spider-Man movies, but this was fine, for what it was.
So let's talk about America Chavez.
Okay, we get to know her? What did you feel like?
Did you feel like that this was the America Chavez from the comics?
I've heard.
I don't know anything about.
I don't know anything from her from the comics, but I've heard it's a little bit different.
Do you like that it's one of those things where she had the power the whole time and could have used it at any moment and just needed bad things to happen to everyone else before she could figure out how to use
She only knew how to use it when she gets scared, so she just had to learn to focus while everyone dies around her.
Yeah,
it was very cheesily written.
Now she,
I thought she was poorly done.
I didn't necessarily engage with her character at all.
Yeah,
I thought she was kind of I thought she was kind of flat.
What do you think of the actress?
I thought she was kind of flat.
She's 14 years old, by the way. Like
she is 14.
Yeah,
she's 14.
Yeah,
she's very young.
She's
14
very
or 15.
Yeah, she's an actual teenager.
Okay.
I enjoyed the conversation about the Spider-Man alternate. She's like, "Whoa, webs? Does it come out of his butt?" He's like, "I don't know. Maybe. I don't know." Like,
this is a weird thing to say.
Yeah,
but I'm going to say it
it
anyway. You can edit this out if you think it's bad. But I put a link into the thing of the movie Coco.
Okay.
And she reminds me of the main character of Coco.
Okay, I've never seen Coco.
Oh, that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I was like, She looks like a character.
She looks like a cartoon
Disney
character.
movie.
Well, she
definitely does.
She's a character in a Disney movie. I mean, her jacket is like right from the comics. I guess in the comics, her sister is the one that gets sent through the multiverse, not her parents, and she has to go find her. But as part of if you're building the Young Avengers, I could see how her power would be useful by the end.
It's tough. It was a tough character to really get engaged with because other than the scene at the end or scene in the middle where you get a little bit of backstory, her character, as you guys stated, is really just a MacGuffin.
It's a MacGuffin and an exposition person. Yes.
Yeah. So like she doesn't have things to do because she's simply just being chased the entire time. So you don't have a character that you can fully understand like what motivates her and all that. So yeah, it's not the hardest. It's a harder role to really sink your teeth into, I think.
Yeah, it was just like she was more of a vehicle to show you the multiverse.
Yeah,
right.
And more than a character or a person.
Right.
And was it worth it to see the multiverse? Was it worth it to see that there's all these options out there that we can see?
There's a blob universe where you just paint blobs.
Yeah.
Where you're animated. I wanted more of that.
Yeah, you would have with the title. I really think they should have just made the title like Doctor Strange in Chaos Magic or something like that. Like really imply that it was a Wanda Doctor Strange story because going Multiverse of Madness, you really imply that this is going to be crazier than it. I mean, it is crazy in some sense, but it's not crazy in a multiverse.
Would have been madder. And I mean,
Now,
838.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why can't Scarlet Witch just have sex with a dude and then just have kids?
Okay, but that's a good question. Here's my other question is...
She wants to be a mom that bad.
If their kids were made out of magic, why do they exist in other universes? My other question...
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I can answer that.
Okay, answer that one.
She in other universes, she actually had
kids. Okay. Okay. Well, I thought also Scarlet Witch was supposed to be a Nexus being, meaning there's only one of her. But they changed that to like America Chavez. There's only one America Chavez in all universes. And then how did Wanda even know to look for America Chavez in the first place?
Darkhold.
The Darkhold brought her, took her there, showed her all the different lives. And
the dark. I would just go with the Darkhold gave her a false sense of what she needed to do to get her kids back.
It was lying.
It's just weird because the kids she created, they're a figment of her imagination. She manifested them. And like, it was just weird that she wants those manifestations. It's just such a strange thing to want. And it's just such a weird thing. I feel like her whole identity is so weird. And it doesn't really work for me. Even WandaVision doesn't really work for me in a way. It's just weird that she wants this particular reality that's the one that she honed in on. And I'm like, if she wanted to have kids that bad, she could. It's like, not like it's like an impossibility. It's just weird.
She wants Westview
It's a weird
back.
motivation.
I mean, she's a weird character in general.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's insane, I guess.
She's insane. Well, not only is she insane, but she had kids with a robot.
But I mean,
this
this journey, you feel a mother's grief, right? She played it really well, and I love the part where she approaches the Camartage, and she's like, "Look, I've been reasonable."
But the kids existed for a week
in a fucking fake reality. I just love how she's like, "I've been reasonable. This is me being reasonable, and now I'm not going to be reasonable." What I thought was a little rushed was, okay, great moment. America Chavez has the great idea. Let's show Wanda, your kids, how they really react to you. She sees how they're afraid of her. She's not their mom. She's causing all this. And then suddenly that's it. Then she's like, oh, all right, I'm just going to destroy all this to bring this thing down.
Well, I actually like that.
I thought it happened a little. Even her heel turn in the beginning happened quickly. Her resolution went a little quickly.
I like that because I think you can equate that to like if you're an alcoholic or if you're on a bunch of drugs and then you see a moment, you have one moment of clarity where you're like, holy shit, this is really what I'm doing. Like, this is all the people I'm affecting and how they really see me.
Yeah.
I think in those moments you have that moment of clarity and you're like, okay, I got to clean this shit up right now.
Just burn it all down.
I don't know. I feel like that once you've gone too far, you can't stop. I think you've gotten. I feel like she had gone so far and went to the nth degree that to stop at that point, like, I think that the reason that you stop is not to have a moment of clarity, just the reason that you know that you lost. Like, there's no winning those kids back. Those
perhaps.
kids were going to see her forever as an aggressor.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is I think she sees the kids, and she sees how they see her, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm everything I thought I wasn't going to be."
Yeah. So I mean, here's the debate kind of that's online, and first of all, she's not dead. Obviously, she's a beloved character. She'll be back. She could have formed a little bubble. She'll be back. But did she do so many bad things? She was doing bad things in WandaVision. She's essentially the antagonist. She's the villain of the movie. Is she not redeemable? Is this where she should be?
She's nuts. That's it.
Yeah, I think the only thing you can fall back on to redeem her is that the Darkhold got a hold of her.
Yes.
But you combine that with what she's done in WandaVision, I think it's pretty tough for this character to be like completely redeemed where she's on the Avengers. But if you follow her in the comics, she's a very complicated character.
And she was kind of a villain in the beginning of the comics too, you know. She is a lot like Jean Grey, just kind of loses control and is super powerful. By the way,
she's never wanted to be a hero anyways.
Right.
So that's not what motivates her now, or what has motivated her is like family. And love.
Yeah.
So that's what always has made her somewhat of an interesting character, because she does things for love and family, but she's not doing evil acts because she wants power. She does it because she's trying to get to her family.
Yeah, so you can relate
but she's
to
so
that.
misguided by some of the things she's had because of her trauma.
She goes in, she gets the Darkhold because she so wants to, I guess, go back to the world that she created.
Right.
Yeah, she wants the Westview house and family again.
Poisons her. She's already insane because she did that without the Darkhold.
Correct.
Well,
she created this thing out of grief, and she enslaved a bunch of people and caused a bunch of damage. I mean, even Vision didn't want anything to do with her. The white one.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
This is crazy.
And so she gets this Darkhold, and so she's already, without the Darkhold, doing crazy shit. Now, with the Darkhold, she's pumped up to the next level of being crazy. And think about all the people that got killed and all of the places that got destroyed, universes and, multiverses that have been affected by this. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to redeem this character. It's pretty tough considering, like, she's insane and she just had a moment of clarity and did the right thing.
She's
but
super powerful.
Yeah, she could kill like the Illuminati in 5 minutes.
Right? She's a little overpowered.
Thanos was a problem, I guess, but the entire Illuminati.
Yeah, I like how she talked about like killing Vision twice and thinking about all the heartache and grief. She did lose a lot. Look, she had a lot of loss, but she just went about getting things in the way they tell you not to.
Well, I did like her line where she tells Strange that he can break the rules, and he's looked at as a hero, and I wish they would have maybe explored that a little more.
That's a great
Strange
line.
ultimately saved everyone.
But Strange ends up doing shit that she does too. He's using the Darkhold. You're not supposed to possess a corpse or your own corpse. Like, he's breaking lots of rules also.
Yeah, but he's doing it to save people. She's doing it for her own self-interest.
Yeah, he's doing it to save one person.
They're not the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little selfish, I guess.
Like, if Strange isn't like, I'm going to die and fucking fuck up the whole thing just because I saw this one way we can win and ultimately save everyone, that's like, he's not getting anything out of it. She's looking for her happiness and trampling over anybody that she wants, enslaving people, because it's just about selfishness. It's just about what she wants.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think that they're like, that line rings true that she tries to compare herself to Doctor Strange. I don't think that works. But whatever.
So yeah, at the end, they're rebuilding Comertage. America Chavez is training with them. Strange gets a third eye. Dreams are actual glimpses.
Wait, one thing on that.
Yeah.
I listened to Sean Chandler and he brought up a good point on that. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have thought of that. But America Chavez figures out how to travel the multiverse, right? Control her powers.
Yeah.
So why the hell is she at Carmitage?
Why does she need to learn how to use a sling ring?
No. Why isn't she looking for her mom's?
Oh, why'd she come back? Or why is she still there?
Why is she sticking around in the universe if she can manipulate time or multiverse now to travel anywhere? Shouldn't she just be traveling the multiverse looking for her mom?
I feel like that's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Like, I don't know how she has no idea where they are.
Well, they should have had like a line in there where they'd explain why she's sticking around.
To get
we can train it should have been something like Wong or Strange is like, we can help you harness your power.
We can help you sense your parents or
like
something.
she's like about to leave and they're like, no, you don't know what you're going to do. Like, you might fuck things up even more. Stay and we'll help you.
That would have been a great little line to throw in. It would have helped.
I feel like it's just, I don't think she should be sticking around the Strange universe. But, it's weird.
She's her and Ned from Spider-Man. They're going to be hanging out, making magic. But let me ask you this. There was a lot of people upset at the rating and
rating.
Yes, they're saying
what rating?
It should be rated R. A lot of people thought this was a lot more violent. It was not. I felt it was very. I mean, Sinister Strange gets impaled. You see some burnt corpse. People's heads do explode. But I didn't feel like it was that bad that it like a lot.
Wait, you're saying people watch this movie and were pissed off afterwards?
No, people were mad that like, oh, my kids can't watch this. It's too scary. It should have been R-rated. I'm like, really? It's not. Are we just getting soft as a fucking? It's not that bad.
Did you watch the What If episode with the zombies?
Yeah.
There's beheadings all the time.
Yeah, there's people got chopped in half
people
too.
Getting eaten.
If anything, I saw this movie and I'd seen some stuff where people were like, I don't know if I could bring my kids to this. So I watched it and I was like, oh, this is like violent for MCU, but then I was like, at the end of it, I was going, it's still PG-13.
It's still,
like, I didn't feel like it crossed the line.
And it's fantasy creatures getting killed, right? It is PG-13. So no, don't bring your fucking 5-year-old. It's PG-13. Obviously, that's not going to be appropriate. But even like a 10 or 11-year-old can't handle this. I don't know what to tell you. Like, what happened? We
just watch the Monster Squad. That's a PG movie.
Yeah. Watch Airplane. There's a PG movie.
A werewolf gets blown to bits
with boobies in it. Did you feel this movie had any real stakes, though? I think we've all kind of said that it didn't.
People died and nobody cared.
Yeah.
What do you define are real stakes?
Like, was there any time where the reality, everything was at stake? It was going to be, I don't know, destroyed.
So, like, the end all be all would be, let's say, like, Wanda's plan went through. America Chavez would be dead. That'd be it.
America Chavez would be dead, but I think there were some lines in there.
And maybe other Wanda would be dead.
Other Wanda, and I think there were some lines in there, though, where she basically stated that she's destined to rule the multiverse.
Oh, okay.
She was getting super corrupted and saying she was destined to rule the multiverse. And then I think they were also, she was saying, well, like they were like, why do you need the power? Like, why couldn't you just hang out in another multiverse? And she was going, well, I'm going to travel across all the multiverses in case they get sick. And I think they wrote in there that by using the Darkhold to do this kind of stuff, you're going to create incursions. So it
would have gotten worse.
The multiverses would have gotten really fucked up if she was rolling it.
Also, I thought it was interesting in the 838, the flashback where you see Black Bolt actually use his powers. The Illuminati get to Thanos on Titan before he even gets the gauntlet, right. But they do the same thing, to their Strange. I think all the multiverse Stranges are obviously a little dangerous and unhinged, and any one of them. All of them have made bad decisions, and seeing an incursion world was also pretty cool, despite the musical note battle.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the musical note battle. I appreciate they're going crazy, but I was just like, why?
That was pretty crazy.
What about this makes sense? Like, why would Doctor Strange throw music notes?
This is one of the major fights.
Now. It is.
This is like a major fucking fight, and they start doing note battles. I'm like, they should have just went Scott Pilgrim and did like a fucking bass battle.
Oh my god! Both like pull out guitars and they just start like.
Here's the thing that annoyed me the most of the movie.
Yeah,
was the fact that you had not one but two books they were chasing.
Yes,
and in both instances, they chase the books. The villain or the hero gets the book. And then the book gets destroyed.
Book is destroyed. Gotta go to
they
another
have to find
thing.
something else.
They gotta find where the book came from.
They did that so many times. They did it twice.
No, chasing MacGuffin after MacGuffin, it was a little much. Also, if the Darkhold doesn't exist, that's probably how Agatha Harkness escapes from Westview and gets to her own TV show that they're gonna give her because that spell is broken, right?
Could you write this without a MacGuffin?
Man, I don't know.
Could you un-MacGuffin this movie? That's a great idea for a show.
It's a good thought process.
I don't know.
Not right now.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think you could have used the Illuminati in a bigger role, and maybe Wanda wasn't the main villain, but you'd have to change her motivation.
I don't mind Wanda being the main villain.
Okay.
I think there was like another scene, the Illuminati, where they all agree, like Doctor Strange. They all think Doctor Strange is a bad person. Like in every universe, they agree for whatever reason that like. He can't change at all. He's always going to have this characteristic of taking things into his own hands.
Yeah.
So the Illuminati leave, and then Professor X is like, he goes, you know what? I don't think you're that bad. We'll see what kind of Doctor Strange you are. And it's just like, what? I thought you didn't like him. Now you're just like, everyone left, and you're like, yeah, I kind of like this one.
Flip. But
he flips so quick.
That is a callback, though. He says the line is something like, just because you stumble once doesn't mean you can't, whatever. That is
Where's
what...
that? Wait, he says that where? In an X-Men movie?
Yes, that's what he tells his younger self in Days of Future Past, the same
Wow,
line.
that's a deep cut.
So that's what they were doing, yeah.
I really thought that they were going to address No Way Home.
Right?
Like when he rips open the universes and somebody acknowledged it. Wanda, somebody acknowledged that he did that.
It kind of doesn't make sense if America Chavez is the only one that can like go between universes. Like, how did it happen in that movie?
You don't need America Chavez in this movie. You could just have Scarlet Witch at the end of WandaVision. You could hear that her kids, like she's able to make contact with them on another realm, and she sees that she can feel that Doctor Strange has done something and tapped into other universes. Now she's like, I'm going to use the Darkhold to do it too. And then you don't need any MacGuffins.
Or what if she finds them in another universe? She goes there. This causes an incursion, alerting Doctor Strange. He has to find the Illuminati and for them to help stop this incursion. And Wanda eventually relents and says, "Okay, I can't do this," and destroy everyone. I don't know. Could have done that.
No. Well, what they wanted to do is they wanted to make a horror movie where she's chasing another girl.
But but shoving this whole Illuminati and then killing them off in the middle, I just what was the point? It was great, but like, what was the fucking point of that? Remember, the rumors were like,
maybe it was the point they wanted to show how powerful she was.
But then give me more. The rumors were of like the Tom Cruise Iron Man and Nick Cage Ghost Rider. Put all those I mean, I know it's hard. He was shooting Mission Impossible. But I guess it was crazy enough. But I just wish they would have went a little bit more. They pushed it a little bit more. That movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that movie tackles fucking multiverse shenanigans and complexities like better than, like, that is madness. That movie, you see the madness of the multiverse.
As far as madness,
Compared to this,
definitely way more madness.
One multiverse where the trees have white leaves and red means go and green means stop. Like, what really was different?
That's maddening.
Is that crazy? That was the only fucking thing that was different. And they got pizza balls. Like, this is
Dogs
crazy.
and cats living together side by side.
She's been to 73 universes, and the only thing she learned is that food is free everywhere. I mean, you couldn't give me a little bit more.
You drive on the parkway and you park on the driveway in this universe, but not in the other ones.
It's upside down. Still a fun movie.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think they marketed it in a way that set themselves up for disappointment.
A little bit was misleading. You thought it was going to be a little more substantial.
This isn't one of those things where, like, we talked about this during WandaVision, where everyone was so amped by, oh my God, Mephisto. Like, everyone wanted their fan theory to happen.
Yeah.
And in some sense, Marvel set that up because they did have the Quicksilver thing, but Marvel didn't set up a ton of that. Everyone just wanted their theory to be right. In this case, by the marketing and by the title, you lent yourself to all those fan theories, and you lent yourself to a bigger movie than it was. So I think they again set themselves up for disappointment for a lot of the fan base.
But they also do the fan service. The Krasinski casting is straight fan service. You know, you got to, you know, they heard that and
They
they're
did
like,
a little
let's do
bit
it.
of it, yeah.
You know.
But it's not, the movie itself is not as big as we've all said.
Right.
Is not at all as big as what anyone thought it would be.
I think the best thing about this movie and the worst thing about this movie is that Sam Raimi directed it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's a Sam Raimi film.
It's a Sam Raimi film, but it's still on the Marvel rails, right? They kind of
it's one of those where
both.
You if you liked Sam Raimi, like I like some of the Sam Raimi stuff, so I was like, I wonder what he would do if he had the entire control of the entire thing from the start,
right?
Because there are like bits where I'm like, this is MCU, like it feels like MCU is battling Sam Raimi at some point.
Yes, I agree.
My favorite Raimi moment in this movie was when she's getting chased through the tunnel.
When it slows down and the drops slow down and then she just pops out of the side instead of breaking through the door.
There was some other stuff too, but that one stood out. I was like, that's a little horror movie in this here.
Oh my God, that was a great.
Well, they do the piano note. It's like, dong, and then her eyes pop out.
Or her popping out of the mirror all contorted and like cracking back in. Like that was out of the mirror universe. That was kind of fucking creepy.
Or they do the, I did like when the demons are out and they do the fisheye lens and it's, Christine Palmer on the ground seeing like the fisheye lens of the point of view of the demon.
I love Sam Raimi's point of view shots from, you know, in Spider-Man 2 when you were Doc Ock's tentacles. And this one, you are Wanda looking for the other Wanda. You are
There's a lot of screams.
The soul demons attacking and flying around. Yes, a lot of swooping camera.
A lot of quick zooms.
Yeah, quick zooms, swooping camera. A lot of push-ins right to the eyes or to the face, you know. He does that in Spider-Man great. Like, do you think the Spider-Man movies are better Sam Raimi movies than this? Since that's all him, really.
I think Spider-Man 2 is a great movie.
I still think that's one of the best.
I would say Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 are awesome movies, but I think this film is actually closer to like the Evil Dead stuff than what Sam Raimi was doing in Spider. I think in those movies he had the cheesiness, but he was still trying to like make a Spider-Man movie for everyone, where I think he's an older guy now and he's just like, okay, you're going to give me MCU and you're going to let me do my thing. I'm going to make Carrie.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go Carrie on this thing.
I mean, it is cool to see him, you know, kind of birth the genre back in the early 2000s, this current genre, and then come back and now with a big budget and a lot of effects, see what he could do. And
I think if he was in the driver's seat from the get-go, it might have been better. I feel like, he's coming in after something's already started. He's got to like do what he can with it, and at the same time, try and make himself fit into something that he's a universe that's already pre-existing, and it's probably not his bag. But
he's almost like an Edgar Wright. Like he would have gone that crazy if you just let him go.
Here's the what if he had it from the start and it's worse? and what I mean by that is his sensibilities and the way he does things is so particular that maybe he alienates most of the fan base, and they're like, no, this is not at all what we want.
I think that would happen.
Are his sensibilities like? Does it still hold up to this day?
Well, like, look, him doing friggin' jazz shit in Spider-Man, like, you know, like dancing
that was
and
not well
weird
received.
shit like that.
Well,
like,
you do the jazz shit, and then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, you like the jazz shit? I'm going to do the musical note fight."
Yes. I'm going to throw
there's something up with that. Someone's got to talk to him about that shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's like maybe like him being reined in is better.
Well, to your point, Anthony, I do think I agree. Like they kind of took the Sam Raimi-ness and kind of made it a little more mainstream because of the way Marvel is now. So it was a nice balance of things, but still have a Sam Raimi feel. I don't think it was super
mainstream. I think they let him. I think it was a little bit mainstream, but I think it went the way that I think a lot of it went a little further towards the degree where it's like, okay, this is fucking weird.
So possibly he may have alienated some of the fans that aren't into Sam Raimi or know nothing.
It's just like it's a very particular sense of humor.
Yeah,
I don't think it's enough to alienate people, but it's enough for people who know Sam Raimi to be like, "Come on, dude! Like we've seen this. Like, what are we doing? Why are we still doing this?"
Hits. It's Sam Raimi's greatest hits right here.
Yeah, like what? Yeah. That's I think that's a good point. Is like, is he evolved enough, or is he just going back to his old bag?
He hasn't made a movie in years. Also, before this, it's been a while.
Like, what is he? You know, if he's just doing the greatest hits, like that's cool.
Yeah.
But you know, we want to see filmmakers evolve and do new things, and like it seemed like he was going and just doing the greatest hits.
Well, would you like to see him stay on for a third Doctor Strange movie?
I say all of this now, and yes, I would.
I would. I want to see him. I want to see him.
Yeah,
evolve
you want to
this.
know why? Because
Yeah.
the motherfucker knows how to entertain.
Yes, he does.
And
I mean, yeah.
you'll forgive a lot.
Yeah.
If you could be at least entertaining.
Absolutely.
And it is a very entertaining movie. Okay, well, we're going to continue talking about the movie as we get to News from the Nation. I got comments from our listeners, but for now, let's rate the movie for me. Rank it. Hey, look, we got 28 movies. We got 5 movies in phase 4. So wherever you want to rank it, however you want to do this. Anthony, go.
I would go with a 7 on this, maybe 6.5.
Oh, okay.
I'd go 7.
Okay.
Because I really do respect that Marvel let Raimi do Raimi stuff.
Yeah.
Although the I don't think the plot is that emotionally engaging because it's a super MacGuffin chase.
Yeah.
And a lot of questionable writing choices, questionable dialogue choices, and the way they marketed the movie lent itself to some disappointment. But I still think it's a solid entry. I don't think it's a complete mess or anything. I think it's entertaining as shit. And I like I said, I liked Raimi. As far as where I ranked it, I had it 14.
Right in the
right
middle.
in the middle.
Okay.
And I have it actually ahead of the first Doctor. I have this one 14 and Doctor Strange 1 15.
That was going to be my next question. Did you think it was better than the first one?
I think it's a little bit. I think it has a little bit more. It's weird to say this, but I think it has a little bit more directorial style than the first one.
Yeah.
Even though the first one has a lot of, I think, a lot more crazier visuals.
Yeah.
But they're very, obviously they're 14 and 15 in mine, so they're very close.
Yeah.
As far as MCU Phase 4, I mean, No Way Home is still the top one for me, but I would say this is behind Shang-Chi.
Okay.
So I would say No Way Home, Shang-Chi, this.
And then Eternals.
I actually like Eternals better than Black Widow.
Yeah.
So Eternals and then Black Widow.
Okay.
But I could see a lot of people putting Eternals last.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Ruggs, what do you say?
I think I really don't need to do this because Anthony did it everything flawless.
Pretty good.
Oh,
His,
there you go.
his list is pretty good. And that's what I was thinking, too.
I pretty much agree with everything he just said. It's a 7. It's a 7 solely because it's a Sam Raimi entertaining film, and it at least, in the least, breaks a little bit away from the formula that we're used to. I mean, there's MacGuffins galore and stuff like that, but at least directorially, like, it feels like a different kind of movie, and I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I did, like I said, I think the writing is basically the only thing that hampers this movie. I do like it a little bit better than the first Doctor Strange movie. I like that they went crazy and kind of gave Doctor Strange a style in his own franchise. I will also agree, like, the joy I had in No Way Home, even though that's a clunky first half and it's a lot of fan service and nostalgia, but it's 20 years of Spider-Man movies. Like, I haven't felt that way since Endgame. I was kind of hoping for some of that here. I didn't really get that. So No Way Home was just fantastic theater experience. It's fucking Spider-Man. I would put, you had Shang-Chi. Yeah. This is like middle tier, middle. I would tie it with Shang-Chi and then Eternals and Black Widow. So No Way Home, Shang-Chi, this movie, and then, the other two. So I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, there really is no other way to rate it.
I listened to, what's funny about this is I listened to both of our, all of our instant reactions,
which we do without listening. No, we don't know, right? We don't know what everyone else is thinking.
And I was like, man, we all thought the same thing.
We did think the same thing on all of them without.
That's funny. We didn't even talk.
Nope. That's the great thing about when those come in. It's like we didn't talk to each other. Let's see how much we agree and don't and disagree. But everybody felt the same thing, and like the endings rushed, and it could have used a little more time. Anyways, next up for the MCU, Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi is back. Jane Foster, Thor, July 8th. Not too far away. Let's do some news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. Let's get you every time.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
All right, let's see what our listeners thought. Ethan Cranford says, it's by no means a masterpiece, but this was a really enjoyable cinema experience. The 90s X-Men theme playing during the Illuminati meeting gave me geek boner. Geek boner. For sure. Again, I can't believe I missed that. I got to watch it again. Blake Braden has some criticisms. He says, could just be me, but these cameos within these superhero movies are starting to feel overused. In no way did I feel excited as I should have been. As far as the movie goes, lots of holes and lazy script writing. Thought the acting was fine, but what they had to work with made the characters feel boring and plain. I'll watch it again, but by no means will this hit within my top 15. First Strange was better. And then, Ruggs, let me know what you think about this. He says, is it bad that I felt more for Doctor Strange and Christine Palmer in a 38-minute What If episode than I did in a 2-hour movie, supposedly with Strange as the main character?
Yeah.
Right?
What If was really good.
That
It's
episode
showing the tragedy
is
of it.
amazing. And I was hoping we were going to get that sinister Strange from What If in this. We didn't really get him.
No, that's not him.
That's not him at all. That's a whole different Strange. But what do you think, Anthony, that Blake mentions he saw in a 38-minute episode, he felt more for Strange and Christine than in this whole movie? Like, that episode was fantastic in showing that. Did it need that in this one?
Yeah, I mean, that episode was a much better interpretation of Strange and Christine. They haven't nailed Strange and Christine really in the movies.
Yeah. Their chemistry is a little bit, the actors, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think the writers of these movies really give a shit about Christine Palmer. I don't think they think she's a very interesting character, so I don't think anyone that's written her for the 2 movies is like, I don't think they don't look at her and go, yeah, this is someone we want to do something with. They're like, Strange and his villains and everything else is way more interesting than this.
I mean, they just sidelined fucking Christine, pretty good. I've got a new person here that doesn't comment often. I'm happy to read Chris Wiegand's comment. Let's go. New person. He goes, what I hate is when legitimate spoilers are pseudo-disguised as speculation. Obviously, just like Spider-Man No Way Home, people knew what was going to happen early on, and the leaks ruined the enjoyment. Wanda's quick heel turn seemed forced, and her power levels fluctuated according to convenience. I love the Illuminati. Even if they weren't powerful, it was super cool seeing the actors in their alternate roles. I definitely hope Krasinski stays in his. This is me. It would be a shame for John Krasinski to not come back. This is a one and done.
We didn't really ask that, but do you want Krasinski to stick around as Mr. Fantastic?
Yes. What were we saying last week? You're like, you need a guy that can play someone that his wife would be into, that he's smart, but he's kind of a dick, but he's not arrogant. Like, I think Krasinski can play this role on those levels. He'd be great.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say that I never saw like John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and I watched this movie and I was like,
yeah,
take it or no, I was like, take it or leave it.
Oh, you didn't really do anything.
I still don't like. I think that's a purely fan casted thing because we saw one picture, but I wasn't like, I don't know. I don't think Krasinski inhabits Reed the way I would like.
Okay, because then you need Emily Blunt to play Sue Storm.
I don't know. What do you think, Ruggs? Do you like Krasinski as Reed?
Sure, why not? I'm not really like over the moon, but he'd be fine. It would be no Frank Grillo as Reed Richards.
Frank Grillo as Reed Richards.
Oh shit!
Would be amazing. That's a whole different movie.
Yeah.
So you don't think we'll see Patrick Stewart again as Professor X?
No, he's gonna die soon.
He is old. So you got McAvoy though. You could bring in.
I
the
wouldn't
McAvoy.
mind bringing back McAvoy.
You got the McAvoy. Okay. Jamie Robinson, Mr. Throwback Thursday from the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast says the title should have been Wanda, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Don't get me wrong, I love Wanda, but I wasn't expecting a Wanda movie. That being said, it still gets a 7.5 out of 10, and I will recommend.
I have to say, I read a review. I shouldn't have done it.
Oh,
and it spoiled the fact that Wanda was the villain for me.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I saw that, and then I was scrolling through YouTube, and there was a screen grab of Krasinski as Reed Richards getting killed. And I was like, well, that's spoiled now for me, too. So those are the two things that I got spoiled
There's
for me.
whole clips of the movie on YouTube now.
Oh, yeah, you can watch,
You can watch a lot
clips.
of it. Like, people just have balls and are just recording it on their fucking phone right there and putting it up. So that goes back to the marketing. Like, I think you were right, Anthony, and maybe misleading in a wrong way, because it did not seem like Wanda was going to be the main villain. I thought there was a bigger
I don't
threat.
mind that. I think that's just the title. It's the title.
Yeah, the title oversells it.
Title, and then the trailers having Patrick Stewart's voice, like that would have been a huge surprise if you just didn't
should have
include
kept that out. Yeah.
And the trailer also, there's one TV spot where Baramoto goes, "The Illuminati
Yeah, he
will
says
see you
it.
now." Yeah.
But then they also showed Captain Carter. You knew it was
they saw
LaShawn.
that too.
You knew
Yep.
it was Monica Rambeau. They also in the spots, and I think Feige. There was an article where Feige was not happy
He
with
did
these
say
promotional.
that he didn't like what they did.
It was
marketing.
too much. You're showing too much. Dion Robertson says, I enjoyed the movie just because this movie got some of the most brutal scenes in Marvel movies. Not only the Illuminati, but her crawling out of the mirror spell, snapping her body back was cringy in the best ways. We definitely got Deadpooled, though. Meaning, remember in Deadpool 2, they just fucking kill everybody that they're like, here's the team. And then he goes, I had to explain to my girlfriend why the theater went crazy to see Mr. Fantastic just to watch him die. 8 out of 10 would watch again.
I think he means Deadpool like we got in X-Men Origins.
Oh,
you got Deadpool, but then you got
didn't
Ryan
really get
Reynolds
them.
with his mouth sewed shut, and it wasn't really Deadpool.
It was Anson Mount with his mouth sewed shut. I thought he meant like, you know how they had all those heroes and then
No, I
they
don't
just
think
killed.
he's meant
Okay, maybe. Dion, tell us what you meant. We got two
Billy,
interpretations.
You skipped Billy.
Oh, no. Oh, Billy Trosper, another new person that has a comment. Billy Trosper says the
He
movie.
hates you, Imran. If you're not a new post, if you're like an old poster, he loves your shit. But if you're new,
Bill, look, I
Imran
gotta
won't
get
read
new
it
to the
online.
new people. Billy, I love how you're commenting. Billy says the movie was an 8 out of 10 for me. Not the greatest, but better than some of the other movie entries put out there by Marvel. I greatly enjoyed the horror aspect, was genuinely surprised to see how gruesome some of the deaths were. I felt like the scene where the two Doctor Stranges fighting with musical notes was something where it looked great in storyboards and pre-visuals, but ended up falling flat when put onto the screen. I think he nails it there.
Yeah, that was a big fail.
About the
We just needed the reason. Like they need to explain why they were using musical notes.
That's
Like,
a
the
big
route.
fuck up right there.
It just comes out of nowhere, and there was instruments, there was sheet music there. I don't know. It was just weird. Like, I mean, he must have been doing some good drugs, Sam Raimi. How do you think of this? Jesus Christ. Jesse Rodriguez says, enjoyed it, but if I don't like Raimi, and I'm not talking Spider-Man Raimi, you may absolutely hate this.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah, he's right. Overall, enjoyed it for what it was. And then he asks, what about Shang-Chi and that ending? Shouldn't that have played into this? See, this is why I don't think they have a plan anymore, because they got all these post-credit scenes that are just loose and aren't picked up, or maybe they will.
Why
but-
would Shang-Chi play into this?
I mean, some kind. I don't know. The rings were sending out things. You had Captain Marvel and the people there.
I don't know how that
would you
plays
tie
into
that
this.
into some energies from the multiverse? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
He's right though about the Raimi thing. I was trying to make that point. If it's full Raimi, maybe it's worse.
And I think
for a
large
lot of segment of people.
large and mainstream audience may not be familiar outside of Spider-Man with Sam Raimi's work, and may have been a little bit like, whoa. And maybe that's why the reactions are like, this is too violent. It's not that violent. Relax. John Bilotti Jr., our trusted admin who hates everything, likes everything. I can't remember.
I don't really know what his stance is on things.
Yeah,
anymore.
right. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
He
doesn't. He's not. You can't peg him anymore.
He agrees with a lot of the complaints. He gave the movie a 6 out of 10. He says Raimi's directing was a breath of fresh air. However, and Olsen's performance was probably her best in any MCU film. There was very little characterization, especially for Chavez. I struggled to keep up a bit, being that I haven't revisited WandaVision since 2020. That's also an interesting thing. If you don't watch WandaVision, do you think this is a hard movie to get into? You have to do a lot of homework.
It is. I absolutely.
Right?
This is not a movie you can just fly blind into.
No, and it's not a movie you want to take a friend that doesn't want Marvel movies because you will have a hell of a time trying to catch this person up.
I remember sitting during the second showing. I had a family behind me, and Wanda. They introduced Wanda with her kids, right, in that dream sequence, and I could hear the mom going, "Wanda has kids. Where's Vision?"
Oh my God!
And I was like, and I could hear them trying to explain. I'm like,
"Oh God!"
Oh yeah, she hasn't been watching WandaVision. She has no idea why this is happening.
I mean, Raimi didn't even watch all of WandaVision. To be fair,
really?
They just yeah, he said they just showed him key moments. He has not had a chance to watch. So what he did, in an interview, was kind of interesting. He left it a lot up to Elizabeth Olsen to put the character where she needs to go because she obviously knew the journey. So he left it in her hands. But man, her performance was great. Like I thought she almost stole the whole fucking thing away. Except for the rushed ending. Rick Martinez. Oh, Glenn Smith says, great fucking movie. Evil Dead meets Marvel. Loved it. Nice and short and simple. I got like the Darkman vibes in there too. Anthony, you should watch Darkman. I think you might like that. It's a fun movie. It's a fun Sam Raimi movie. Rick Martinez. Did you see Sam Raimi's car? If you blinked, you missed it.
Oh,
I didn't see his car. Did anybody see his car?
No, I did not see.
It's like a big gold, like Chevy Impala, like from the 70s, 80s. No? Fuck, I didn't see it. And then finally, Wes Cranford says, I love this film. I just spent over 2 hours in the theater, and it felt like 5 minutes. I go to the theater to escape, and the film delivered. They're trying new ideas, taking risks, and it felt fresh and familiar at the same time. 8 out of 10. And also, the movie ranks in the bottom of the top tier. It was just plain fun.
Wes Cranford is just such a fun-loving guy. He's like
me.
He's like you, except with more sense.
Yes, that's actual,
and way more athletic,
but less punctuation when he
less
types.
Punctuation,
it's very
yes, less
kind of hard to read. It's just all one run on. But he can paddleboard like a motherfucker out by the Sydney Opera House. Let me tell you something.
Yes,
he's
I think he's in his 50s, but he acts way younger, and you're in your I don't know, early 40s,
and I act like I'm in my 80s.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Clutching your pearls.
My sciatica. I can't believe they're showing this gore.
Look at these kids partying at Lollapalooza.
My vagina's done.
These women are barely wearing anything in the desert, Coachella. What is happening? And finally, I got a speak pipe.
Oh,
from someone you guys may all remember.
Wait, is this a zombie?
It's a zombie speak pipe, and they've called in. Let's hear it.
What's up, Jock and Dirt Nation? It's your boy, the Speak Pipe King.
Oh.
That's right, everybody. Matty Miller is back from the darkness.
Zombie man.
Nay, shall I say, the madness. Just got out of seeing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. I'll leave you guys with a quick little ditty about what I thought about it, and we'll see if you guys can decipher what I'm really trying to say. Since Ruggs thinks I'm so long-winded in my voicemails. God bless America, guys. I wouldn't mind going to see this movie 4 more times. Heck, I might even go tell my ex to go see this movie. All right, guys, can't wait to hear your review. I'm still a DC boy for life, but this movie was pretty good. The only thing I really didn't like about it was the weird transition scenes and how they did the wipes and the fade in. It felt kind of strange to me. Yeah, get it, Doctor Strange. Anyways, bye, guys. Take care.
And it's a great Mother's Day movie.
Did you lose the audio halfway?
No, that's how it was recorded. I don't know what happened.
What was he saying?
I got to make one comment because he's saying read into his comments. He started out with "God bless America."
America Chavez,
right? You realize she's 15 years old, right, man? I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Oh boy,
that's a weird start, man.
That's
a really weird start.
Zombie Matt. She was good, but
that actress is like 15 years old. Just gonna say that. Leave that right there.
And then he would tell his ex to watch this. I don't know. We don't know what you're trying to say, Matt Miller.
I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay.
You said God bless America to a 15-year-old.
Oh my God!
That's what it
Think she's hot, man? All right, cool.
Yikes. I'm leaving all that in. Thanks, Matt Miller, for the voicemail.
Maddie.
Yeah.
Always a treat.
That's it for the show, everyone. LeBrugs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Instagram. No, I
find him in bed. Jesus
on
Christ.
Twitter.
He's already in bed about
on TikTok. You can find me on TikTok.
He's got chamomile tea next to him, so he can just doze on.
What am I on? I'm on Twitter. At Really Rug Boy.
At Really Rug Boy on Twitter. You can find a link to that.
You can find a bunch of Xannies next to him.
Ruggs, we got to get you some uppers over there just for the show.
Hey, listen, I got to fight little girls for my theater seat and get tired.
I know, that is exhausting. Next time, you just give them one of these. You tell them to just get the fuck out of there. Here you do.
I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air.
Do one of those.
It's fighting 8-year-olds with cell phones.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's what you gotta go. And then Stanley,
the fuck's going on here?
That's what you should have told.
That old fuck has got more energy than I do.
Look, check the show notes for links to Rug Boy's Twitter, our socials, how to stay in touch, how to support the show, how to subscribe, share the show with a friend, get it out there. We would appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
I really don't give a shit.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
I love this movie.